Welcome everyone to our workshop today, which is about assessment against the backdrop of generative AI. Where to from here? So we've invited, the participants that we have to this session because you represent such a diverse range of different background areas, discipline areas that is. And so we're hoping that we're going to have a very rich discussion today about the different ways in which generative AI is being used currently in your own discipline areas, how it could be used, against the backdrop of your disciplines, and also some of the potential pitfalls that we might encounter in applying these methods within your own specific discipline areas. So I'm Elaine Chapman, Associate Professor Elaine Chapman. We also have as presenters here today with us Dr. Jian Shao, who is an expert in assessment and has a lot of background in measurement techniques, and also Dr. Pavan Sabat, who is also an assessment expert and teaches that at the higher education at Curtin University. So, okay, and thank you very much for coming along. So the first thing that I'm going to do here in this workshop is, first of all, tell you a little bit about what we're calling the Aardvark model, which is something that we've developed and is going to appear in a number of different textbooks that we're producing at the present time. So if you're interested in having a look at those, by all means get in touch with me, and I can put you in line with getting a copy of those textbooks when they come out. But this is basically the conceptual model that underpins three different textbooks that we're producing at present. So the Aardvark model basically brings together a number of different conceptual ideas that have been in the literature for quite a long time, and essentially brings those together and distills out the key attributes that effective assessment tasks need to have. Okay, so essentially this is a distillation of different ideas to give you a sort of a systematic or coherent framework on what kind of attributes effective assessment tasks need to have. So the first attribute that we've got listed there is called aligned, which is all about making sure that judgments that are prompted by assessment tasks are actually in line with or correspond to the intended learning outcomes for a particular learning experience. The second attribute is authentic, which is that the tasks that are being used to assess students are in some ways reflective of some processes or events and so on that are in the real world, right, that resemble real world experiences. The third, reliability promoting, is all about prompting consistent judgments. So judgments that don't depend on the time of day that the student is being assessed or on who in particular is doing the marking. Developmental refers to the need for assessment tasks to be given at appropriate junctures within the teaching and learning process. So that they're actually, if we're doing, for example, formative assessment, that's being given at the right time point within the overall teaching and learning cycle. Validity promoting refers to the need for assessment tasks, and this is a very critical one, obviously, to promote defensible inferences about what students can do, what they know about, and also what they understand and so on. And in some cases, their attitudes and so on as well. Accessible refers to the need for assessment tasks to be, to allow learners to demonstrate what they know, what they understand, what they can do in an equitable way. So that's actually one of the particular concerns that a number of scholars have about doing assessment in the generative AI context. Realistic refers to the need, and this is again a very critical one, the need for assessment tasks to be practical, efficient, and also sustainable. So a lot of the assessment tasks that we design nowadays are, a lot of the assessment tasks that we design nowadays, they can actually be very effective ultimately, but they're not necessarily sustainable in the longer term because of the imposition that they or the burdens that they impose upon financial resources or time or whatever have you. So that's that's another element of that. The final attribute that we talk about in the Aardvark model is the constructive attribute, which is all about whether or not we're having a positive impact on other processes like teaching and learning, for example, using our assessment tasks. So every assessment task that we use is going to have what we call a washback effect of some kind, whether it be, you know, on students' learning processes, whether it be on teaching processes and so on. So we want to make sure that the assessment tasks that we're using actually do have a positive impact on these other processes that, you know, that are part of the teaching and learning process. So I'm first going to go through the attribute of aligned, okay? No, actually, we'll cut that now. Sorry, that's moving on to payment, isn't it? Right. Apologies, everyone. Payment is going to do now the attribute of aligned.